It is live. But please let me know. Srimad Bhagavatam 5.141. Bhavam divyam manusham cha mahitvam karma yogajam yaschakre nirayau upamyam purushanujana priyah. Bhaumam of the lower planets, divyam heavenly, manusham of human beings, cha also mahitvam all opulences, karma by fruitive activities, yoga by mystic power, jam born, yah one who, chakre did, niraya withheld, haupamyam comparison or equality, purusha of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, anujana to the devotee, priya most dear. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai. I can already feel that. I think it will go. Just give it time. It's just time. It will go. CPU is probably already. Translation: as a great follower and devotee of the sage Narada, Maharaj Priyavrata considered hellish the opulences he had achieved by dint of fruitive activities and mystic power, whether in the lower or heavenly planetary systems or in human society. Purport. Srila Rupa Goswami has said, please repeat. As a great follower and devotee of the sage Narada, Maharaj Priyavrata considered hellish the opulences he had achieved by dint of fruitive activities and mystic power, whether in the lower or heavenly planetary systems or in human society. Purport. Srila Rupa Goswami has said that the position of a devotee is so super excellent that a devotee does not consider any material opulence worth having. There are different types of opulences on earth, in the heavenly planets, and even in the lower planetary system known as Patala. A devotee, however, knows that they are all material and consequently he is not at all interested in them. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Param Drishtva Nivartate. Sometimes yogis and jnanis voluntarily give up all material opulences to practice their system of liberation and taste spiritual bliss. However, they frequently fall down because artificial renunciation of material opulences cannot endure. One must have a superior taste in spiritual life, then he can give up material opulence. Maharaj Priyavrata had already tasted spiritual bliss and therefore he had no interest in any of the material achievements available in the lower, higher or middle planetary systems. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 5th canto, 1st chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam entitled The Activities of Maharaj Priyavrata. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaham Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sakrijatam Sahanaraghanatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijanasahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhamnamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशधारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Going fast? No, good. But I think there is a lack of sync, right? It's not syncing audio video. So, Bhaumam divyam manusham cha mahitvam karma yogajam yaschakre nirayau punyam purushana janapriya. So here is an example of a devotee considering all his material opulences as being hellish, and Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport that this Vishaya Vinavartante Niraharasya Dehina Rasavajam Rasotyasya Param Drishpan Vartate. See, it doesn't it? Everything is just very like we're on the moon, like what the scientists say. So, though the embodied soul may be restricted, I can't continue with that. Okay, anyway, so although the self-realized soul, I mean, if he is not self-realized, he will find that the material happiness to be very attractive. But for the person who has already tasted spiritual happiness, he does not take any pleasure in so-called material happiness. Ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. So this is our method of controlling senses, the devotee's method of controlling senses. And in fact, that is the only method of controlling the senses. Senses cannot be controlled by forceful, abnegation. We have to actually have a higher taste. We are not compromising with happiness. It's not that, we should not enjoy. No. We should enjoy that so much that this material enjoyment is nothing. Why we should? So that's when contentment comes. Content means not making a compromise. Oh, that's what I want, but I can't achieve. Okay, let me be just happy. There is one person who actually wrote a book like that. The secret to happiness. Yeah. So he said that the reason people are unhappy is because they expect too much. So there has to be a check on the expectations. So lower your expectations, then, of course you aim for something high, but then lower your expectations so that you can live in a content way. So that is like making a compromise with material. Because I can't be happy, I'll just make a compromise and let my happiness be there. And that's what happens actually. If one gets the body of a pig, that's his level of happiness, he's happy there, eating garbage. So that we are not supposed to be happy like pigs and donkeys. They say ignorance is bliss. Prabhupada says ignorance is donkey's bliss. So donkey is blissful and goat is blissful. eating grass when the goat in front of him is chopped off, beheaded, and this goat is still eating grass as if nothing happened. So this is ignorance of the goat or a donkey. Nowadays they call goat of greatest of all time. He is the goat. Yeah, it's Bakra. Yeah, actually he is being sacrificed. I mean, he's on the chopping board actually. The so-called success of this material world is just like a chopping board. They just, when before being chopped, the goat is given a garland. After that, so all these so-called high achievements are like that garland. Oh, you are great, and after that, chop. So after that, the fall comes. Once they have reached the pinnacle, where next? Down only. Because that is only the pinnacle. They have nothing higher. So, so it's not to compromise. We are not here. That's why many materialists say that spiritual life is you have to give up so many things. But actually, we are not giving up on anything. In fact, we are most greedy. In one sense, because the devotee, he says that I don't want even liberation. Why? Because actually he has much higher than liberation. Why do you want liberation? Like Mama Janmani Janmanishwari. I don't want even liberation. But why? Why does he want liberation? So selfless. There is a spiritual selfishness there. He is so content in one way. Of course, he is selfish because his happiness, he doesn't want to be happy on his own. He just wants to make Krishna happy, and that in turn will give him happiness. When there is actually a lalasa, a greed. In fact, Bhakti Vinod Thakur has written this Siddhi Lalasa, the greed for perfection. What is that? That, laulyam, greed can be applied to Krishna. The greed is not actually selfish greed, just like the seeming lust of the gopis is not actually material lust, the spiritual lust. It's a greed to make Krishna happy, and that will automatically reward. And it is not that he expects the reward, he just wants to make Krishna happy, and he is greedy for doing that. He will go to any length to do it. Pure devotee. Hanuman, he crossed ocean to do it. Prabhupada crossed the ocean to do it. Arjuna fought a whole war, to do it. So, a devotee, he goes to any length to achieve that happiness. But it is not a happiness which he wants for himself. That is the selflessness. The Prabhupada said, why be selfish? Be supreme selfishness. That means, instead of satisfying the self, satisfy the supreme self. And automatically satisfaction is there. So, we are not compromising. We are not, we can't get that, so just be content here. But a devotee is content with whatever he has. Santushtya yena kenava. What is that? Dayaya sarvabhuteshu santushtya yena kenava sarvendriyopashantiya cha tushyatyashu janardanaha. What pleases the Lord? Three things. Dayaya sarvabhuteshu, to have mercy towards all fallen souls. That means to preach. And then santushtya yena kenava. Wherever he is happy. Sarvendriyopashantiya cha. And wherever, when his senses are completely under control, Tushyati Ashu Janardana. He satisfies Janardana. But actually it happens in the reverse order. Not reverse exactly, but if he is controlled, Sarvendriya Upashantyacha, then he will be happy anywhere. If he is not controlled, he cannot be happy anywhere and everywhere. He will be dissatisfied. Even in heaven. Like Hiranyakashipu, he had the whole three worlds under him, still he was dissatisfied. He wasn't happy. He was always angry, he was always, fearing. Not fearing exactly, but he was very envious. He was not happy. Therefore Prahlad Maharaj says, I am not interested in all these opulences, because I saw what my father was doing after he has gotten everything. He was not happy. He's suffering. So don't please tempt me with this. He asked Narsimha. So one cannot be happy even if he gets the whole world. Vamanadev, when he asked Bali Maharaj, please give me 3 paces of land, a land in which I can put 3 steps. And he was Vaman. Vaman means dwarf. Dwarf steps are very small. So Bali Maharaj says, no, that is quite insulting. I am a king of the entire universe and you are asking 3 steps of land. You think I am not able to give any charity? What is the matter? Why are you asking such small charity from me? Nowadays we are asking, they say, they want to give smaller charity. Bali Maharaj was Dhanave. He wanted, why are you asking small charity? What is this? So he is, exhibiting the symptom of a Kshatriya. Kshatriya should be Dhananistha. He has to be very charitable. And Vamanadev, since he, came as a Brahmana, he also showed what is Brahman principle. He said, if I am not satisfied with 3 paces of land, I will not be satisfied with the 3 worlds. Because there is no end to greed. And it is not why there is no end to greed. Why? Because the soul has nothing to do with the body, but he thinks he is the body. And so when he gets some sense gratification, he is still not satisfied. Momentarily there is some relief from suffering, but then it quickly dies off. So he thinks he wants more. This thing is what was keeping him. But actually it has nothing to do. That amount of material opulence he has nothing to do with his happiness. But because that is his only understanding of happiness, or cause of happiness, he will try more and more and more. It will never end. And still he will be unhappy. Because the parrot in the cage is never satisfied with enormous amount of decoration of the cage. It is not. But if he foolishly thinks that this decoration will make me happy, the more and more he decorates, the more and more he becomes hungry. He will not be happy. He will not be satisfied. But a little morsel of food will satisfy him. One fruit will satisfy him. So actually what we need is Krishna consciousness. We are servants of Krishna and we have forgotten him, and that is causing our misery. And if we just have Krishna, we don't need anything else. And that's why the devotee is content. Bhukti mukti siddhi kame sakalya shanta, Krishna bhakta nishkam ataeva shanta. The devotee is always satisfied and peaceful because he is not agitated by all these sensory attractions, because he is firmly holding on to the lotus feet of Krishna, which is the reservoir of all happiness. Rama means the reservoir of pleasure. Krishna means the all attractive. When he is with all attractive, why is he attracted with anything else? And conversely, if he is attracted to anything else, he is not attracted to the all attractive. That's why today's song we sing, Ratina Janmilo Kene Thai. Rati, where is the Rati? The holy name Golokir Premadhana Harinam Sankirtana. So it is actually the greatest treasure imported from the spiritual sky. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought it down. But then Ratina Janmilo Kena Thai. Where is the Rati? So the focus should not be on renunciation. The focus should be on attraction or attachment to Krishna. That example is this. Prabhupada, there is this incident I told many times where he explained that the difference between a yogi, bhogi and rogi. So yogi is a person who passes stool once a day. Bhogi, yogi means self-control, he passes stool once a day. Bhogi, the sense enjoyer, he passes to stool twice a day. And a rogi, the diseased person, he passes stool 3 or more times in a day. So one of the disciples of Prabhupada took it seriously. We have to take it seriously, but he took it seriously but focused on the wrong point. So he was controlling himself, like sitting and So Prabhupada asked him, what happened? Prabhupada, I'm unable to do anything. What happened? No, you said yogi means you must go only once a day. But I'm having to go a second time, so I don't know what to do now. Prabhupada laughed. So he said, the controlling is not at the anus. The control is at the mouth. The focus is on the wrong point. So once a day means he has to eat less. Eat in such a way that he only goes once a day. Because if we say that, oh, yogi means he only eats half a kilo. But what if his size is like Bhima? So that is not a proper this thing. So the proper calculation is by how much his body can take for his energy, for his service. So the control should be at a different point. So similarly, as a devotee, if we, because we see great devotees, they renounce, easily, material attachments. But, oh, that is very difficult, let me not go into that. So because we are focusing on the wrong point. The point of this thing should be attachment to Krishna, then the effect will be the detachment. Detachment is not something we need to strive for. We need to strive for attachment for Krishna. Then detachment will be a natural byproduct. That is this verse. Rasavarjam rasopyasa param drishtva nivartate. Unless we param drishtva, unless we have seen that higher happiness, unless we have experienced higher happiness, we cannot give up lower happiness. Of course, we have certain regulations. No meat eating, no illicit sex, no gambling, no intoxication. Because it's not that, Prabhu, I don't have any higher taste, let me just, yes, because I am fallen soul, Prabhu. No. There should be regulation, but that should not be the only regulating factor. We have to regulate and then couple it with the chanting, and then eventually the chanting will become strong, and then there is even no need of regulation, because automatically one will not be attracted. But until that comes, there has to be regulation. So by the transition, in the transition phase, yes, there has to be regulation. That's why if you see, there is this hopefully it will go. Chapter 3, text 34. This is very important. Indriyasyendriyasyarthe ragadvesho vyavasthito tayor navasham agachet tauhyasya paripanthino. There are principles to regulate attachment and aversion pertaining to the senses and their objects. One should not come under the control of such attachment and aversion because they are stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization. So, one should not come under the control of attachment and aversion. We should not be too attached to anything, too averse to anything. But then there are regulations. For example, if one is attached to, all these four things, like, what is that? Lokesmin vyavayamesha madhya seva nityahi jantor nahi tatra chodana. So these four things, meat eating, illicit sex, gambling, intoxication, one has natural tendency in this material world because of passion and ignorance. But then we have to regulate that. For example, vyavasthitisteshu vivaha yajna, there is marriage to control the sex. But one cannot depend on just marriage. Oh, now I'm married, now I'm safe. No. One is not safe. That is, yes, a big wall to, keep us from going out into the, sinful way of life. But I can still climb it if I want, if I have the determination to be stupid. So I can do it. So, I cannot depend on that. Like, there are traffic rules. Okay, you have to do this, you have to drive this way. But accident can happen. Still, I cannot depend on the rules. Because even if I'm going nicely, somebody may come and do something. So that's what it is said here. We just can't depend on the rules themselves. We have to be. Those are just facilitating in the initial stage, but our real thing should be on the attraction for Krishna, and then this can be given up. So Maharaj Priyavrata, look at today's politicians. In Malaysia, we have a politician who is 94 years old, I think, 95 now. Still there, trying to push things. And we had one more in India. If somebody did not shoot him, he would have continued. So in fact, they become kings or presidents at 60, 70. We have one in the United States, 80 years old, going strong. I don't think he's going strong actually. So, they become kings then. Whereas, if you see Pandavas or even Parishit Maharaj was he was young. He was in the youth. When he gave up, when he heard that death was coming, he gave up. He did not increase his security, put snake poison everywhere, and put Lakshman Rekha kind of, and bring snake charmers and all kinds of. No, he did not do all this. So snake bite. Okay. Let me go to the Ganga. More snakes will come rather in the palace. If you go to the more snakes can come there, right? But he went. He heard Bhagavatam. Because Vyasana Bhujaka Sandashta Santrana Mantram, the real snake is the material world. They're always being bitten, when how anaconda eats the prey? You know how anaconda does it? Of course, the movie was there, it's too dramatic, but actually anaconda, he will swallow a little bit, and then first he will constrict, of course, and then slowly tighten the grip until everything is crushed inside. Then swallows the whole thing whole. Many snakes do that. In fact, they almost cannot bite. So they swallow the whole thing, and then whole thing, and then whole thing, and then whole thing, whole body. So time, if you see, Kala Sarpa, the snake of time, is actually eating away on our life, and taking our whole existence. Finished. Of course, can't kill us, but this body, we may see no snake, but actually the snake is there in the form of time. It's eating away. Every single second it is eating away. So that is the snake, and how can we escape? We cannot have some line drawn or something like this. So, rather, if there is some, indication that death is going to come, that is in fact more of a blessing than a curse, because that's why old age is in one way blessing for the devotee, because he becomes more serious. It's more impetus for him to become more serious. If in the youthful life he was too forgetful of this, then the white hairs is the beginning of reminders of death. So these are all and when they get white hair, then they try to put some French beard and then they try to. The main thing is this is all warning by Krishna. These are all warning. Okay, there is some health. You are repeatedly visiting doctors. Okay, that is another symptom. This problem, that problem. So these are all. Krishna is actually reminding us every step of the way. And also, even when we are young, so-called, we will see older people passing away. But of course, we are stupid. Yudhishthira Maharaj said, most wonderful thing is, people are so stupid that, right in front of their eyes, everything is happening, everybody is dying, but still they don't. Ahanyahani bhutani gachanti hayamalayam. Seshas thavaram icchanti kimascharya atah param. So, those who are staying here, sthavaram icchanti. They want to be here only. And the reason why we want to be here, because we think, again, this body is, we are this body, and then gratification of the senses is what is happiness, and become greedy. It's like the pig. You take the pig out of the garbage, he will go back into the garbage. Which man in the sane mind will go back to the garbage to, enjoy? But that is how we are now. So the stumbling blocks are not, not only the material attractions, but also those seeming regulations which control our material attachment. Even they become stumbling blocks, because we can't really depend on them. They are not a very strong wall actually. The real thing is attraction to Krishna, and this is explained in a few verses. See, come to 4. This is a very beautiful verse. यत्पादपङ्कजपलाशविलासभक्त्या करुणाशयं ग्रथितमुद्ग्रथयन्ति सन्तः तद्वन्नरिक्तमतयो यतयो विरुद्ध स्रोतो गणास्तमरणं भज वासुदेवम्. स्रोतो गणास्तमरणं भज वासुदेवम्. Devotees who are always engaged in the service of the toes of the lotus feet of the Lord can very easily overcome hard-knotted desires for fruitive activities. Because this is very difficult, the non-devotees, the jnanis and yogis, although trying to stop the waves of sense gratification, cannot do so. Therefore, you are advised to engage in the devotional service of Krishna, the son of Vasudeva. See, the jnanis and yogis, they can try all they want, but they cannot. They cannot. But the devotees can. Prabhu, but I cannot. Other devotees also cannot control the senses. What about them? This is why we have to become complete devotee, proper devotee. And that actually comes from Shravanam Kirtanam. Of course, we can do all service we want, but if there is no Shravanam Kirtanam and there is no surrender to such Shravanam and Kirtan, then it will not. The show will go on for a while. After that, it will wrap up. So, we have to become proper devotees. That's why there is this. We can't be satisfied. Oh, now I'm devotee, now I'm safe. In fact, that is Maya's trick to make us unsafe. The moment we think we are safe, that is when we are unsafe. The moment we, as long as we think we are not safe, then we will always seek the protection of the devotees and Krishna. The moment we think we are safe, that is the dangerous spot. 554 and 555 and 556. Especially when we go to 6 when we understand. A very important verse actually, Prabhupada gave a lecture many times. Always used to quote this also. Nūnam pramattah kurute vikarma yadindriya pritaya apranoti na sadhu manye yadatmanoyam asanna pikleshada asadeha. Indriya pritaya. Indriya pritaya means for sense gratification. When a person considers sense gratification the aim of life, he certainly becomes mad after materialistic living and engages in all kinds of sinful activity. He does not know that due to his past misdeeds, he has already received a body, which although temporary is the cause of his misery. Actually, the living entity should not have taken on a material body, but he has been awarded the material body for sense gratification. Therefore, I think it not befitting an intelligent man to involve himself again in the activities of sense gratification, by which he perpetually gets material bodies one after another. So, Indriya Priti is condemned here. An intelligent man should not do it. So, why does he do it? Because this is why. He does not question. Parabhavastavad-abodhajato yavanna jignasata atmatattvam yavat kriyastavad-idam manovai karmatmakam yena sharira bandha. So his life is defeated. Indriya Priti is not good, so an intelligent man should not be engaged in that. Okay, fine. But then why does he engage? Why does he become defeated in the life? Because abodhajat, he remains ignorant because there is no jignasa. Yavan na jignasa. Yavan means as long as. Yavat. You see, whenever you see yavat, there will be tavat. That means as long as you don't do this, then this is the result. Yavat kriyas tavadidam mano vai karmatmakam yena sharira bandhaha. So, parabhav means defeat. Parabhavastavad abodha jato. As long as one does not inquire about the spiritual values of life, one is defeated and subjected to miseries arising from ignorance. Our miseries come from ignorance. Our misery does not come from anything else but our own ignorance. Because the same situations, when the devotees are there, they don't feel misery. Like Pandavas, they were put in trials and tribulations, but they never felt anything uncomfortable. They were staying in the palace, but they went and stayed in the forest, and nothing really mattered. They could do anything because they were not attached. Be it sinful or pious, karma has its resultant actions. If a person is engaged in any kind of karma, his mind is called karmatmaka, colored with fruitive activity. As long as the mind is impure, consciousnness is unclear. And as long as one is absorbed in fruitive activity, he has to accept a material body. So this is the thing. Yavat kriyas. Kriya means fruitive activity. So fruitive activity is caused by ignorance. Now when we do not know who we are, we think we are the body, then we think our work should be to maintain the body and to maintain body's relations, and this is the domain of activities. So that is kriya. Of course, there is also the kriya, cheshta, krishnarthya khila cheshta. For Krishna's sake, acting, only for Krishna's sake. So that is another activity. But as long as we are involved in material activity, it will produce more ignorance. Ignorance produces material activity, and material activity produces more ignorance. Because as long as we are working like that, it reinforces our conviction in the material world and the material way of life. So this is the way things should be done, this is the way life should be led. That's how we conceptualize our conceptions, or rather misconceptions. So therefore, you see, this is actually very instructive for devotees. Five, 6. एवं मनः कर्म वशं प्रयुङ्क्ते अविद्ययात्मन्युपधीयमाने प्रीतिर्न यावन् मयि वासुदेवे न मुच्यते देहयोगेन तावत्. See, evam manah karma vasham prayunkte. When the living entity is covered by the mode of ignorance, he does not understand the individual living being and the supreme living being, and his mind is subjugated by fruitive activity. Evam manah karma vasham. Vasham means to come under the control of karma. Work, fruitive work. Fruitive means it produces a fruit. Every action is a seed and it produces a fruit, a reaction. And that acts like a chain. And when that fruit comes, that situation, depending on our modes, we react differently to that situation. And that causes action, and then that is in this way it is a chain. So because we are not aware of how to actually disentangle or decouple ourselves from the chain of fruitive reaction, we always get entangled, and react. So he does not understand the individual living being and the supreme living being, and his mind is subjugated by fruitive activity. Avidyatmanyupadhiyamane Pritirna yavan. This is very, very important. Therefore, until one has love for Lord Vasudeva, who is none other than myself, he is certainly not delivered from having to accept a material body again and again. If we are not delivered from this material world, we will be delivered from a mother's womb. That's what that delivery will happen. That means again, punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani, jathare shayanam. Iha samsare bahudustare, kripaya pare, pahi murare. So Shankaracharya has sung this, that this repeated birth and death and repeated, sleeping in the mother's womb. So So these things will continue as long as there is Pritirna yavan mayi vasudeva. Priti purvakam. Bhajatam priti purvakam. We have to do devotional service with affection, with priti, with love, with not just official. So we have to engage. So priti, unless one has love for Godhead, so you just see now. Ado Shraddha, Sadhusanga, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, Prema. So Preeti starts from Asakti, then Bhava, then Prema, especially when love of Godhead, that is Prema. Unless that is achieved, we have a chance to take Bhagyan. We are always, oh, Prabhupada said back to Godhead, I'm going back, bye-bye. No, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, unfortunately. Prabhupada said many of my disciples will end up in the heavenly planets. Prabhupada said, many of my disciples will end up in the heavenly planets. End up means what? That is not the end. You will come back again. Because they don't take this seriously. In fact, the vast majority. Of course, whatever he has done is good, and the next life he will continue from wherever he's gone. But it's a risky business. So we want always the result without any effort on our part. This is a definition of entitlement, feeling of entitlement. Entitlement is when they want the consequences or without the action, or they want to do negative action but without consequences. They want positive action, positive results without any positive action. They want to do negative actions without any negative results. So basically they want to do negative actions but want positive result. This is the stupid nonsense philosophy of this entitlement, especially nowadays this leftist philosophy. So-called woke culture is about this. They want to do everything stupid and then they want all happiness. So, but if we want, so-called good or bad in this material world, all bad. The main thing, the only good thing is actually Krishna consciousness. Kuvishaya and Suvishaya. Vishaya Garta. And what is that? Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Vishaya Garta Guainu Janam. There is one verse. Then there in the purport, Suvishaya and Kuvishaya. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that. So, Vishaya means material life. Suvishaya means so-called good material life. What is that good material life? Heavenly planets, all this heavenly happiness and comforts. So-called comfortable position. And then there is Kuvishaya, which is the sinful path of life and which leads to hellish existence. But both are bad. Vishaya completely is bad. We have to completely come out. Vishaya vinivartante. Niraharasade. So we should not be at all attached to anything. And that is only possible by attachment to Krishna. Because we cannot stay completely detached. We actually cannot stay detached. Detachment is a myth. Detachment to one thing means attachment to another thing. Only one person can be actually detached. Krishna. He is Swarat. Because he is self-sufficient. He does not need anything to become happy. We need. Our existence depends on Krishna. Of course, Krishna's agents through other, maybe government, our relatives, our friends, neighbors, whatever. But all this is coming from Krishna. Krishna may appoint some agents of his for protection. They may be seemingly, on the surface, they may be protectors. Like the police, for example, police department. They are protectors of citizens. But still murder can happen. It's not that the police says, I'm in Singapore, there's the least crime, so no crime will happen. No. Crime can happen anytime. Accident can happen even on the royal roads. So there's nothing that can stop. So if Krishna's will is the main thing. So so we are always protected by Krishna. We cannot remain independent, even for our sustenance. Hmm. That's explained in the third chapter. We can't really be independent. Sharira yatra pichate na prasiddhyera karmana. We cannot do away with doing something. We have to do something. Otherwise our body still cannot be maintained. But Krishna does not have that dependency. That's why he can be completely independent. Swarat. He is what? Swarat. So Swarat means he is completely, does not need, but we need. So when we are dependent on something, then how can we be renounced? Okay, a person goes to the Himalayas, for example. He is renounced from what? He is still in the material world. Himalayas is where? Spiritual world. No, it's material world only. He is in the material world and he is taking shelter of a cave. He is dependent on his things. He is eating some fruits and something. He is still dependent. So the detachment is to be an effect of our attachment to Krishna. And when we are attached to Krishna, Vishwam Purna Sukhayate. This is not an anomaly. Now here we see Preyavrata, he is considering all these opulences as hellish. Whereas it is described by Prabodhananda Saraswati that Vishwam Purna Sukhayate, for the devotee, the whole world is full of happiness. Tulayama lavenapi na swargam na punarbhavam. Of course, no, not that. What is that? 6, 17, 28. Narayana parasarvena kudashana bibhyati swargapavarga narkeshu tulya artha darshana. So the whether swarga, apavarga or naraka is the same. Heaven, liberation or hell is the same for devotee. So in one verse it is said he is very happy in the material world. In one verse it is said here it is said that Preyavrata is very is considering it hellish. So what is the how is the devotee actually feeling? So when he considers an object as a source of sense gratification, he doesn't like it. But at the same time, the devotee sees it as an object for Krishna's pleasure, and therefore he will use it. This is called Yukta Vairagya. Yukta means to be engaged, Vairagya means to be detached. How can he be engaged and detached at the same time? So he can be engaged by engaging it in Krishna's service, and he can be detached. So that's why it is, what is that? Yamunacharya. He was a spiritual master of Ramanujacharya. He was a king, and therefore he was having all opulences of wine, women, everything. And he was enjoying a lot, sexual enjoyment, sensory enjoyment, so much in his early life. Later on, when he became a devotee, then he says, Shushtu Nishtivanam cha. Nari Sangame Smaryamane Sushtu Nishtivanam cha. So whenever he thought of sex life, Nari Sangam, association with women, he spit at the very thought. He was disgusted. But we have example of course, Prabhupada, who engaged many of his female disciples in Krishna's service. And of course, we have the extreme example of Ramananda Rai, who was personally taking care of the Devadasis of Jagannath Puri temple. But that is a different, only Ramananda Rai can do it, not even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Sri Vinay can't do it, what he can do. So, anyway, but Ramananda Rai was never thinking about sense gratification. A pure devotee, he may be in the midst of the greatest opulence, but he will not be distracted. Because he has no self-interest in that. The only reason we become distracted or attracted because we have self-interest. When we want to enjoy it, that's when it becomes a distraction. But when we do not want to enjoy it, it does not become a distraction. So we have to be attracted to Krishna, and that is what will immunize us from the effect of. And attraction to Krishna means, oh, okay, now I have attraction for Krishna Prabhu, now I think I'm safe. Once Prabhupada said to his disciples, because disciples were having does a spiritual master ever fall down or something like this? Prabhupada said, I will never fall down. Disciples were like, oh, it's a powerful statement. And after the talk, Prabhupada went to the room. Inside the room, he was praying to Krishna, because the Krishna picture was there, he was praying, please save me. The disciples asked, but Prabhupada, you said you will never fall down. Yeah, this is why I will never fall down, because I am always holding on to Krishna. Not because, oh, I am now, master now. Because I never forget Krishna. That's why I will never fall down. So that is the reason. So that's the only way. So he is teaching us. We cannot be complacent at any point. Yeah. Spiritual master may say such things to bring confidence into the disciple, and of course he is on that platform as well. It's not that actually he is susceptible, because he is at the shelter of Krishna. Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Preshthaya. Yeah, that means he cannot be. Krishna Surya Sama Maya Andhakar Jahan Krishna Tahan Nahi Maya Rathika. So, but he is teaching us why, the reason why he is safe, or he can make that bold statement. He has. So we should have zero faith in our strengths. The problem is we have too much faith in our strengths. Not understanding that whatever strength we are given is actually borrowed from Krishna. Krishna gave us whatever strengths we have also, and he can take away whenever he wants. You know that verse? Where Arjuna says, in the first canto, 15th chapter, I think 24th verse or something like this, where he says, I am having the same Gandiva bow, I am the same Arjuna, I am shooting the same arrows, I am the same warrior who defeated Bhishma, Karna, Drona, everybody on the other side, and now I lost to some cowherdmen. After that, when the queens of Dwaraka were kidnapped, he lost to some cowherdmen who were carrying some sticks. 1:15:21. So what happened? So when Krishna takes away, because he can take away, why are we having so much pride in our strengths? Paurusham Narishu, he is the ability in man, not we. Oh, because I am some real specimen of a human being, then that's why I have. But did I choose? In Hindi they call namuna, specimen in a different way. So we are a fool if we think like that. So the real thing is always we should be having zero faith. That's why I think Prabhupada once defined humility thus. What is it searching? I press something which searches something else. So humility means to have zero faith in ourselves and complete faith in only Krishna. And because of such faith, devotees can sometimes make bold statements and do bold things. Prabhupada keeps saying, I am a frail old man, I am at the fag end of my life, he used to say. But then at the same Prabhupada crossed the ocean. At one point he is expressing like absolute helplessness. But he did an adventure which even a young man wouldn't do. That means where is the confidence in Krishna? Tadvai dhanus ta ishavah saratho hayaste soham rathi nirpatayo yatahanamanti sarvam kshanena tadabhuta sadisha riktam bhasmam hutam kuhakaradhamimo ivoktamusham. I have the very same Gandiva bow, the same arrows, the same chariot drawn by the same horses, and I use them as the same Arjuna to whom all the kings offered their due respect. But in the absence of Lord Krishna, all of them, at a moment's notice, have become null and void. It is exactly like offering clarified butter into ashes, accumulating money with a magic wand, or sowing seeds in barren land. So, the will of Krishna, how powerful! Without his will, the greatest of people can do nothing. That's why there is other verse by Prahlad Maharaj. A boat in the ocean cannot save a drowning man, and the parents cannot protect a child, and a physician or best medicine can't save a dying patient. because the will of the Lord. So we have to have the humility means how we can lose confidence in ourselves. And actually, in the Western countries, they take it as a bad thing. Oh, you have to like pep yourself up. In fact, they have some what is this called? They have some word for it. Um, um, every morning they say these things. They're mantras. They have some word for it. Affirmations. That's what they call them. Idiots. Affirmations. What is that? I am strong. I'm beautiful. I'm worthy. I can do this. They have actually. They read through that every single day. They have these affirmations. They call them. I am this. I am worthy of glory. Worthy of success. There's actually, one lady who I think I shared with some devotees. She made a video like this. She like was showing that how you can gain strength, and she was saying all these things. That just shows how empty they are. They're actually completely hopeless. They want some hope, and they're godless, so they have no hope. So somehow, somewhere, something they have to cling on to. Okay, I am the greatest. I am this. I am this. Just believe in me yourself. They say. This is the problem. This is atheism. Believe in yourself is atheism. What believe in yourself? What you have? You believe in yourself. So that comes with this emptiness because they don't have a strong shelter. Every atheist is a depressed person actually, because he has nothing really, lofty in his life. He just has a very mediocre life, and he thinks he's very successful in his own stupidity. Because everybody is stupid, and then all that they are saying, "Oh, you're very successful." Yes, no, I'm successful, but actually he's a successful stupid person. But that's what he thinks is success. So, real thing is we have to have zero confidence in ourselves, zero faith in our mind. A real yogi, he has zero faith in his mind. Because this mind only I believed every single life. And this very mind has cheated me for millions of times. Because the mind thought of something idiotic at the time of death, and I become an idiot next life. Every single time. Krishna says, whatever you think, you become. We think with what? Mind. That very mind which has cheated us trillions of times, we still have faith in the same mind. Same mind. That is our problem. So, the only way we can come out of this is to place our confidence in Krishna. How can we place our confidence in Krishna? Unless we know about Krishna. Sometimes we may hear, Krishna is, supreme. But unless we are regularly reminded, on a daily basis, we will forget. What is the advice of Rupa Goswami? Upadesha Saram, the essence of all advice. तन्नाम रूप चरितादि सुकीर्तनानु स्मृत्यो क्रमेण रसना मनसि नियोज्य तिष्ठन् व्रजेत तदनुरागी जनानुगामी कालं नयेदखिलमित्युपदेशसारम्. Upadeshasaram means the essence of all advice is this. Everything is there in one verse. The essence of all advice is that one should utilize one's full time, 24 hours a day, in nicely chanting and remembering the Lord's divine name, transcendental form, qualities, and eternal pastimes. So Kirtanana. Kirtana means to, glorify the Lord and chant His names. So Kirtanana means nicely, with full attention, with full reverence. The previous verse also talks about this reverence. We'll go to that. Thereby gradually engaging one's tongue and mind. In this way, one should reside in Braja, Golok Vrindavan Dham. How to reside there? That means in the temple. even if I cannot reside, I should make it my center of my life. That's why Prabhupada said, live around the temple and then come daily and make this the center of one's life. Temple means, again, association, again, hearing and chanting. Temple life means Shravanam and Kirtanam, Prabhupada explains on 19th, Madhya 19.151 purport, or 159 purport. So anyway, outside the 152. So in this way one should reside in Vraja and serve Krishna under the guidance of devotees. Again, guidance of devotees. One should stay in the holy place, take the guidance of devotees, chant holy name. One should follow in the footsteps of the Lord's beloved devotees who are deeply attached to his devotional service. Not those devotees who are deeply attached to gossip. They are also devotees externally, but attached to gossip. Prajalpa. If they are engaging in Prajalpa, one should change that quality and make it Krishna conscious talk. So, one should be associating with devotees who are deeply attached to his devotional service. And 24 hours, kalam nai akhilam iti upadeshasaram, every moment of our life. And this nicely chanting. So, this, the previous verse, if you see, I don't know, it's a good idea. स्यात् कृष्ण नाम चरितादि सुखी सिताप्य विद्या पित्तोपतप्त रसनस्य नरोचिकानु किंतु आदरात् अनुदिनं खलु सैव जुष्टा स्वाद्वीक्रमाद् भवति तद् गदमूलहन्त्री. Hare Krishna. So, kintu adara. Adar means what? In Hindi also, adar means respect. Adarat. With great respect, must chant. And hear. And Prabhupada said, when you are reading Bhagavad Gita, you are actually directly with Krishna. It's not that Krishna is somewhere and Bhagavad Gita is somewhere, and you are actually with Krishna. The holy name, character, pastimes, and activities of Krishna are all transcendently sweet like sugar candy. Although the tongue of one afflicted by the jaundice of avidya or ignorance cannot taste anything sweet, it is wonderful that simply by carefully chanting these sweet names every day, a natural relish awakens within his tongue and his disease is gradually destroyed at the root. What is the disease? Kamam hridrogam ashu apahinoti dhira. Bhagavatam 10:33-39. Kamam hridrogam. Hridrogam means disease of the heart. We all have a heart disease. What is that? Cardiac surgeon cannot find out this thing. Kamam, lust. So this disease is gradually destroyed. Now Priyavrata, he has complete distaste for material life. That means that is a sign that his disease is finished. The disease is destroyed at the root. He will see the real stark naked form of Maya, which is actually disgusting. Which is that's why virakti. He has virakti. Bhakti pareshanubhava virakti. Virakti means complete. What is that word? It starts with D. Huh? Disgust, yes, disgust. When you like disgust, disgust. There is another word I just can't get. Anyway, one is disgusted with material life. That disgust comes when one has this natural relish for Krishna consciousness. Then the disease is destroyed at the root. So I think last verse I will show. How is the speed of the live stream? Just the video is off. This is a beautiful verse actually by Haridas Thakur, quoted from I think some kind of Quran, I think Padma Quran or something. Tam nirvyajam bhajagunanidhe pavanam pavananam shraddharajyan matiratitaram uttamam shlokamaulim rodyanantah karanakuhare hantayannam bhanor आभासोऽपि क्षपयति महापातकध्वान्तराशम्. O reservoir of all good qualities, just worship Sri Krishna, the purifier of all purifiers. Pavanam Pavananam. The most exalted of the personalities worshipped by choice poetry. Worship him with a faithful, unflinching mind, without duplicity and in a highly elevated manner. So, Shraddha Rajyam Matiratitaram Uttama Shlokamaulim. Thus worship the Lord whose name is like the sun, for just as a slight appearance of the sun dissipates the darkness of night, so a slight appearance of the holy name of Krishna can drive away all the darkness of ignorance that arises in the heart due to greatly sinful activities performed in previous lives. The darkness in the heart is actually because of sinful actions. What is that? 728. Yesham to antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridhavrataha. This dridhavrata means a very firm, unshakable vow. One can serve Krishna with unshakable vow when his stock of sinful activities has been destroyed. And that can happen even in this lifetime. Even if one has been very sinful, just by chanting the holy name one can counteract all of that. But one has to seriously with this Shraddha Rajyam. Rajyam means with great. Let's see the word-to-word translation. Atitaram, exceedingly. You see all these words being enlivened now. Shraddharajyan, enlivened with faith, the mind. So exceedingly. I mean, it's not. We should not just the endeavor should be very great on our part. But it's not that by the endeavor we will achieve Krishna. Oh, if I chant nicely, I will achieve Krishna. No. If we try hard to please Krishna, Krishna may be pleased and then he may grant us the actual strength to be immune from these material attractions. So that's why we should, with exceeding faith and with exceeding endeavor, as much as possible, to our maximum extent, even push the extent to which it is possible. Only then that is the way to worship the holy name. So then yes, we can actually come, because even when we do it with that is called bhajatam priti purvakam. Krishna will give intelligence, but to who? Oh, Prabhu, I am devotee, Krishna will give me intelligence, I am intelligent now. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. That's not intelligence. That's actually foolishness. That's a sign of foolishness, that pride. No, intelligence Krishna will give, but only bhajatam priti purvakam. And pritirna yavan mai vasudeve namuchyate ye deha yogena tavat. Just now we saw 556. Pritirna yavan mai vasudeva. If you don't have Vasudeva priti, bhajatam priti purvakam, what is the priti? It means when one loves someone, he will do anything for that person. So what does that anything means? Anything. So that anything means exceedingly. This exceedingly. Why Hanuman jumped? He has nothing to gain. He's jumped all the way across the sea to find a woman whom he is not going to enjoy. And then come back again empty-handed. Maybe make some enemies there and come back somehow. Why did he do that? Why did he jump so much? That is exceeding. As much as, of course we are not Hanuman, but To our extent, we have to push our limits always. That is the meaning. And it is not that, oh, I have to push myself. No. For Krishna, I should do anything. Krishna, please give me the strength and intelligence how to do it. Let me do it. So now we have some service, which is this temple building. This project. This is, I don't know, very, very big. But that's how we have to push and, have faith in Krishna, and that's how exceeding endeavor should be there. Whatever is possible within our means. And extend beyond that. And Krishna will open the doors then. Then only will open the doors. So anyway, I'd like to stop here. Any questions or comments on this topic? Huh? I do not know if that is the point there. I don't think whether he did not call Prabhu. I think he called Prabhu, but when people were calling him Prabhu, if he acts like a master, thinking that he is actually Prabhu and not dāsa, that's the problem. So anything else? Okay, we'll stop here. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर प्रेमानंद।